Happy Friday, everybody. Great to be back with you. Mike Favorite here for a Think Script class. Hope you're having a good day. A little bit of a bounce today in the markets, no doubt about it, despite some of the, consumer sentiment numbers not being as strong. We're seeing some other areas that are stronger in the economy. But hey, it's great to be with you. Folks, today I want to take some time to really go through some of the condition wizard gems that are out there. Really talking about how you could do simple and straightforward coding with the condition wizard, really across a wide variety of different conditions. I wanted to break that down for you today and show you how quickly we can go through that and how that can actually open up a lot of different avenues for you in terms of getting ideas and concepts around specific coding. And actually, it'll actually show you what the code is itself. So it can help teach you the code. That's one of the ways that I learned ThinkScript coding as well. So I will look forward to diving into that with you. Hello to all of you in the chat. Good to have you here joining the chat. But a good friend of mine, James Boyd, you'll see him in the chat as JB. Everybody knows JB, right? JB, great instructor. Great to have him on board. And hey, let's dive on into it, folks. But happy Friday once again, all of you here. All right. So quick note here. The information here is for general information purposes only. Options do carry a high level of risk. They're not suitable for all investors. The paper money software application is for educational purposes only. Now, backtesting results presented are hypothetical, and there's no guarantee that the same strategy implemented today would produce similar results. Investing does involve risk, including the loss of principal, and past performance of any security strategy does not guarantee future results or success. So having said that, we're going to switch on over and take a look at, well, briefly look at the markets here. That is our bounce right there. And you can see a little bit of recovery. I've got this line drawn through here, and it's going to be very, very close to the 200-day moving average, which is kind of interesting to keep an eye on as well. Let's just throw that out there because I'm going to be utilizing that a little bit today too. As we talk about some of the basic codes that can be so simple yet so powerful when we are using the condition wizard. Just really good solid gems out there I wanted to kind of take a look at and show you how they can be coded. Let's do this. I'm going to go ahead and just pull this back out to a 1-year time frame, just the S&P 500 index. Just a couple of things to highlight. Wow, where are we at? Well, that was kind of a long-term support level. Oh, this is resistance over here. Resistance, it acted as support through here. We broke it. It's kind of maybe resistance now, and you can see the 200-day moving average right there just above it. So just to kind of some interesting notes to see where we're at in the market and see if we can reestablish ourselves above that point. Down here, the MACD2 line is sort of flattening out. That is the main line to the MACD2 line flattening out at the bottom. And will we get a bounce here or not? That's the real question. And so a lot of times, traders, investors are looking for ways to kind of structure what the ThinkScript code is they're going to be using around market conditions. Are we seeing bullishness or bearishness? A lot of investors, and I'd say institutions, really do focus on that 200-day moving average. If you're above it, bullish. If you're below it, generally bearish. But let's just see what does happen into next week. All right. Well, what I wanted to talk about was taking a step and looking at specifically the condition wizard and seeing how we can use that tool to help us learn ThinkScripting, to actually create codes right now that are very powerful but yet simple to put together, tying in prices with indicators, with potential support and resistance levels, and specific like price formations as well. There's a lot that can be done there. Just going through the condition wizard. And this is especially useful if you are new. But like I said myself, I'm not new to ThinkScripting, but I always get ideas looking at the condition wizard. And I've had many ideas for this class where we've developed specific code outside of the condition wizard. So it's really kind of helpful in that regard as well. All right, so first things first, I want to be taking a look at some of the scans today. So up top, let's click on our scan. I'm going to go over here. That is the S&P 500. Good, we got that down. Now, where I'm going right now with this is I'm going to go over into an add filter, upper right-hand corner, and I'm going to go right into study. The study filter, okay? And the study filter will give us that ADX crossover as a default. If we click on that little pencil there, pen, and puts it on my other window. And here we go. First things first, I'm not really going to be using an ADX crossover, although that could be used in the condition wizard. Let's just delete that first and foremost. Now, where are we? Condition wizards here. Anytime we want to write actual ThinkScript coding, we could do it right over here. Okay, and create a script that's going to scan in a very quick and efficient way, certain conditions that we might find within stocks in the market, right? Technically speaking, among other, scenarios, mainly technical. All right, but we're going to move to the condition wizard. We're going to go down here and add a condition. Now, as we go in here and add this condition, I want to talk first about some of the price formations itself. I'm going to start off the very basics. It's oftentimes, what's price doing relative to a moving average? What's price doing relative to an indicator? Well, what about what is price just showing us itself? That can be really accomplished here within the scans as well, as a scan within the condition wizard too. And how we would do that is simply just right up top here. We're going to go into study. It is a study. You can see there's just a ton of different studies in here. Now, if you go through and you look at a lot of these, you're going to find some of these recognizable names that are tied specifically into what the price action is doing themselves. For example, you guys have heard of candlestick patterns. I think many of you have. Well, there's a hammer. There's an inverted hammer. A good quick way to do this that I have found to be the most accurate way to screen out specific chart formations is just by using this form. Be thinking you can have a hammer that's crossing above. You have a hammer happened a couple of days ago, and now the stock's just crossing above the 200-day moving average. You see what you're doing is you're creating a scenario on the chart just by using that condition wizard, by layering in one or two or more, well, really two or more conditions in this case. Okay, there is our hammer. Now there's a little bit of a breakdown on the hammer. You can change these. I just leave them as defaults. They pretty much know what they're doing in terms of what we've got with a hammer. But I'm looking for a hammer, and the hammer itself is the condition. Okay, so let's pull the hammer down. I'm just going to say is true, because once we've identified price action, we could say is it true or is it false? Okay, and the hammer's not really crossing above anything because, there could be some things we could look at here, but right now we're just trying to identify that hammer. So I'm going to say is true within one bar. So we should see that bar. That is today. We should see it in the S&P 500. We should get a hammer, a really distinct and obvious hammer. Let's go ahead and scan. There we go. So here are some of the companies we could look at. There's MAS, Home Depot's one. So MAS, we only get 3 today that are recognizable. Look at that. Now, I think many of you, if not all of you, would say, gosh darn it, Mike, that looks to me like a hammer. There's no sort of, I would say, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's pretty much a hammer right there, right? Which is oftentimes viewed as a reversal type pattern, and reversal can simply mean two. It could go sideways. It could be a neutral two bouncing back up. But that is something we can create, and it's really straightforward and obvious. Home Depot was another one. I'll just pull that up right now so you can see it. There you go. Now that's interesting. That's a hammer inside of a harami. So if we were to shoot for a harami, we would probably get that to unfold as well. But you'll notice the hammer is occurring after prices have gone down. Okay, can that be a reversal? No, that's the question. Could we have a hammer happening 3 days within the last 3 days, and then the price of the stock going above the 10-period moving average? Something that I know JB talks a lot about in his classes. I do too. I jumped on the JB train when the 10-period moving average was being thrown around by him as well. But think about that. Candlestick pattern, breaking above a moving average. We're going to hit the moving averages next and show you how we can combine those together. But before we do that, there are other candlestick patterns out there that are not just so simple as a hammer pattern. These could be really effective. You can see that's actually a harami. But what if we took it just a step further and we said one that I've always found to be quite interesting? Nothing works out 100% of the time, but this one contains 3 candles, and that is you're getting a downward move. and then you're getting something like a hammer or a reversal like a doji, and then you get the next follow-up day. Now that, my friends, and I think many of you do recognize it in the chat, that is referred to as a morning star. Much, much less common is the morning star. But very, very interesting. A lot of times big reversals can happen from a morning star pattern, which is really, it's simply just a confluence of candlestick patterns. Is one of the ways that some of the early writers of candlesticks that I read back in the 90s would refer to it as more than one candlestick in a row, or a pattern of candlesticks. Let me show you, that's in here too. And let's go right back into our scan tab. There we go. And I'm just going to click back to my pencil again, right here. Pull it back up. It's going to keep pulling on my other screen. That's okay. But let's go back to where we were. We're going to add a condition in here. Remember, that is a study. Candlestick is referred to as study, although it's price. We're looking at price action. So keep that in mind. But if I type in morning, oh, they got a Morningstar Doji. That's the one I just kind of showed you. Now, the Morningstar is not as strict as the Doji, but I'm going to put it in nonetheless. And again, we're just saying yes, because it's really specific. It is, in fact, is it true? Is it false? We're looking at true in this case. We want to see it. So is it true within the last, these don't happen as often. So I'm going to say 10 days. And that's anything between 1 and 10 days. The when here is really, really important, when it happens, right? So let's go ahead and click just save here and click OK and see what, we're going to the 500. We should get something in here. Fantastic. We get one. That's all we need. We just need an example. And we do have one example in here. Happens to be up 5% today. That's URI, United Rentals. Let's take a look at it. Let's confirm it. URI. In the last 10 days, do you guys see it? I see it right here. 10 bars. I'm sorry, not 10 days. I'm sorry, 10 market days, not calendar days, right there. That is your morning star. And me looking at morning stars, to be honest with you, this is what I anticipate happening. Now, like nothing's 100%, obviously. But when you get this formation, do you notice something interesting here? What happened to price action off that last level when you get those confluence of candlesticks? Did we go down after that? We actually have gone sideways, and we're up pretty good today. A lot of times these can be, like I mentioned to you, these longer term reversals. Now, will that be a longer term reversal? That remains to be seen. The 200-day moving average, let's just highlight it. Well, that's a little ways up. The 200 is sitting up a little bit higher here. So keep that in mind, but this is somewhat interesting. You have to say it did stop at that, and it is above. I don't dare call it JB's 10-period moving average, but it is a 10-period moving average right there. Because other people might not refer to it as JB's, but it is certainly, in my mind, it's JB's 10-period moving average. But there you go. It's right above the 10-period right there. Well, let's just spell it out. DMA. All right. And we're just, and it's, the trend is down. The trend is down. So this is going to have to be a longer term reversal if it does do that. But what does the longer term look like? Oh, okay, it was up for a period of time. And by the way, it looks like there was some support through here as well. But you notice on that Morningstar, you did actually close up above. So you have to close lower, then you have to reverse higher and close up on the day. Interesting. I thought you guys might think so. What do you think? Okay, George. George corrects me. I'm a little bit flexible. I'm a little bit more flexible, but you can't, yes, exponential, bingo. Thank you for that. You got that one straight. It is an EMA, and I'm on the simples. I'm just a simple guy. What can I say? I'm not exponential. All right. Well, that's price. It's kind of cool. I mean, what a cool way to do it in a scan across a large basket of stocks. And some of you might go over here and say, well, I want to do something like this over a, well, all NYSE stocks. That's a bigger list. You might have some other filters in there, but it is there for you if you want to knock yourself out. You can find more out there with larger baskets. I'm just tending to stick with the S&P 500 during our discussion today. Okay, now timing is important, and I want to talk about prices themselves. This is like a really, really common one. So look how quick and easy this is. Do you see how fast we did that though? I mean, that screened 500 companies like that. I mean, if we're going back to over 10 days looking for morning stars, our whole group would be here looking for a while, just trying to find that. We had that right at our fingertips. So it's very, very quick. Next one, I want to talk about prices moving above, let's say, for example, a specific price level. Have you used this one before? Now, in my trading, and that's over a couple of decades, actually, JB and me, I think we're very similar in that regard. I've noticed that sometimes there's a tendency for stocks to find resistance at 100 or 200, maybe break above it eventually if they do, or just go down. But then they might hold that as a support level or just break up once they can finally get above 100. Maybe they run to the next level. Sometimes that happens. So why don't we look at just prices right here? Price action itself, the closing price. And remember, it's adjusting the closing price today. So we're looking at today's changes. Crosses above. That's in action. It could be greater than, but you're going to see that that's not going to make as much sense if we're looking at above 100, right? When we say above 100, we mean above 100, but we're saying what's interesting is it might be breaking above 100, and that could be a form of a breakout. Now we're just using values here, so all I'm going to simply do is select value, and look at that, it's there, 100. It's our default. Nice. I could say another one, 50 could be another one of those levels that I've seen. Again, no guarantees that, that these will end up being numbers. I just could tell you over a couple of decades, I've seen these be resistance levels. So you might have a specific number. Within the last, we're just saying it's breaking above 100 today. Today. Let's make it very, very relevant to this class right now. Let's hit it. Scan. Above 100. We've got 4 companies today breaking above 100. Now, I've heard of Micron. I've heard of all these, actually. Let's try Micron. Is it breaking above a longer-term level? True to form. It found it how quick for us? That was pretty fast, maybe 3 seconds or so. There you go. There's your 100 level right there. We're above it. Now, is 100 as valuable in this point? Not necessarily, but you could say that there's a range around, interestingly enough, 100. You could watch that, right? You could also tie in, hey, did it get above the 200-day as well? Because many stocks out there might fall into that scenario. And by the way, it looks like we're just getting above. We're getting a moving average crossover too. A little side note there. I will say earnings sticks out like a sore thumb. Always got to be mindful of earnings right there. A lot can happen around earnings. What was another one? I think AMD was in there. AMD. Yep. Look at that. Where is it holding at? Where did we decide to flatten out? Like I said, not a guarantee you're going to hold there, but take a look at that. It's at 100. Otis was in there. Boom. Broke above 100. Now holding 100. It's just fun to look at these because you just don't see this every day, which is the way we've set it up. Now, this one simply broke above 100 and now breaking above the 200-day moving average. The market's not closed yet. We don't know if that'll happen. We don't know if it'll close above any of these above 100 because the day's not done yet. But just a side note, look at the longer term charts. What's going on? Could be helpful, just different conditions. But I wanted to let you know, you guys know you can, in fact, do that. Yet, scanning conditions can go back quite far. You can go back extremely far in terms of the when. Yeah, if you want to go back and look at a longer time frame, you can have it occur over a longer time frame. Or if you're looking at a weekly chart, I mean, you can scan, just long periods of time for sure. In fact, that duration, just so you know, can be flipped right up top here, right? If you were looking for something to occur over a time frame, that's a good question, though. Yeah. We can have specific scripts too that will go back over certain time frames. Now that would be like a script we're writing, though. We've certainly done that before. All right, well, let's continue this going forward here. Next up, what else can we see with price? We've seen price formations. We've seen price above a value. But we can also look at price above, talking about the 200-day moving average a lot. Why don't we do that? What's gone above the 200-day moving average today? Today itself, where, like we said, a lot of traders, investors look at a number like that above a moving average as an important indication for bullishness or bearishness. Price crosses above. crosses above the simple moving average. And what is that simple moving average? I clicked on study there. Sorry, I did it kind of fast. The 200-day right there, the 200-day moving average. I'm just going to say in the last bar. That means today. If it was 2 bars, it could be today or yesterday. Going back as far as we want to have it checked. Check that. I'm going to click on save right now, and we're just going to say 200-day move S&P 500 closing above the 200-day moving average today. Let's scan it. Look how quick that was. Was that unbelievable? There's our CCI. We just saw that getting above the 100 today, as well as the 200-day moving average. You can look over here and say, by the way, since we've been in a down market, what's popping back up above the 200-day? Because we know that the S&P, the SPX that we use, the S&P 500 index, is currently less than the 200-day moving average, right? What is above it? What's crossing above it? You see the action we've got in here? What's showing some strength? Let me show you what I'm saying here. Investment banking, brokerage, insurance. So we're still in the financials. There's banks. There's another brokerage. You got some of the others down here too. I just noticed that. You also have, I just saw a health equipment, Zimmer, ZBH is down here, just above its 200-day moving, and Intel. Let's look at ZBH and Intel, just confirming it above that level. ZBH, now ZBH, they do medical equipment, a medical equipment company. Is it above the 200-day today? In fact, it is. It is. Intel. That's a little surprising because Intel has been down for a while. Oh, okay, so you're back above the 200-day right now. And that was a pretty big gap that you saw yesterday. Okay, interesting. So, but you're getting something that's relevant now in timing, if that's what you're looking for, right? What if we did this? What if we said the 200-day moving average, it's because one of the tricky things here is if I were to say, I'm going to go back into editing this, just click on edit because I'm going to change the existing one. And if I said it was over the last 3 bars, you know what could happen? That means it crossed above over the last 3 bars. So here's price action. It went above our 200-day moving average within the last 3 days. But if we look at the last 2 days, it did this. It went up here, but then today it went down below. This is a down bar. Could have drawn it in red, but you guys get my point. Would it still come up? The answer is yes, because all we're saying here is that we crossed above the 200 within the last 3 bars. The script is doing exactly what we're asking it. What if we said this? It went above the 200-day moving average in the last 3 bars, plus it's still greater than the 200-day moving average. That would mean that this scenario right here, folks, would not apply because we're saying you got to still be above the 200-day moving average. In other words, you broke above within the last 3 days, could have been 1, 2, or 3 days, but you're still holding above it. Now that's really interesting. That's a little bit more interesting, but we've got to add to our code here, and we can do that actually very simply. Let me see. There we go. So we're going to keep this. I'm going to go out to 3. I'm going to save it. I'm going to add another condition down below. Let's just pull this up again. So closing price is greater than study, and that study is going to be the simple moving average of the 200 as well. And by the way, is it greater than in the last day? It's greater than right now. So yes, it's still greater than. It broke above the last 3 days, but it's also currently holding above that level. Click OK, and you got it. We're going to get more stocks in here because we're going back 3 days, but you're going to see some of these in here. Let's see, PanW, Palo Alto Networks. This is a great example, just on the fly. I got lucky. I chose one here that we could look at. So notice that we crossed above, but we got below yesterday, but now we're still holding above that level. That would be meeting our criteria. So whether it's above or below, but I'm just saying that's kind of the scenario. So that's interesting too, right? So you can add a little bit. We're playing with time. We're playing with values. But the condition wizard, very, very easy to set that up. All right, let's continue on. While that we're on moving averages, why don't we do this? Why don't we do a crossover, a moving average crossover? The golden cross, 50 going above the 200. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's the 50 going above the 200. I don't use it a lot, but that is one that can be used. Maybe I should be using it more, but hey, just throwing it out there to you guys. We're starting off not with price. Everyone's been with price. Well, with the exception of our first one, but we're going into study because this is a moving average, not price going above a moving average in this case, a moving average going above or below a moving average. Crosses above another moving average. And by the way, this moving average over here is the 50. The 50, we're just spelling it out exactly as it is. 50, great, not just greater than, but actually crossing above, right? The 200 crosses above another study. That study is a simple moving average right there. Let's go ahead and just throw that in right there. 200. And we'll say it's today. Are we getting any golden cross indications today? Now, the death cross is when the 50 goes below the 200. We've had some of those. We know that recently. But are we getting any popping back up in the last bar today? In other words, let's check it out. We have one, a grand total of one. And we're going to confirm it. CVS right there. CVS Pharmacy. Oh, so why would the golden cross be interesting here? Did it find something maybe kind of unique? I mean, I'm looking over here. Are you guys seeing what I'm seeing? I'm seeing a shoulder, and a head down here. Long-term inverse head and shoulders pattern, perhaps. How did we find it? A golden cross today occurred. Now try to find that over 500 companies. A lot of times what they're looking for is a break above this level for that price target to be in effect. And that could be a fairly large price target because you're looking at this range between this high and this low according to the inverted head and shoulders pattern. I'm looking at kind of a longer term one. It's a big, I should say longer term, a bigger scale, but this same price range, if broken above here, some traders might be looking for that range to be met, to be met, which is quite a bit higher here. Look at that. Now let's just see if we have our 200 in here. Let's go ahead and change our 10 to a 50 and see if we get a cross though today. I'm going to change that to a green, make it a little easier to see. And there it is. Oof. Well, it said we were getting it. Is it the 100 or the 2? I think so. I think it's above this. Good to hear, Gazelle. Yeah. Or Giselle. Yeah, these are really good. I mean, the thing is with these, I don't know, condition wizard gems is that they are so easy to create. You guys have so much capability right at your hands. I mean, to find what you're after, just the condition wizard. And like I said, it's a great way to learn how to code too. I mean, you can get the codes. In fact, let's highlight that in a second. Before I do, I just got to see what this weekly chart looks like. Okay. Okay, I can see the head and shoulder potentially over here. And right now that head and shoulder might be looking like a longer term. I get this from my swing trade class, but it looks like a little bit like a flag pattern, doesn't it? It's holding that very, very tight. As a matter of fact, my gosh, okay, now we're getting into chart patterns a little bit, but look at this, sideways. Anybody recognize what that pattern is? Just curious. If you've got it, throw it in the chat. Little bit of a review here on chart patterns, but interesting nonetheless. Yeah, that's been really holding flat. That might be an interesting one. In fact, I'm going to do this. I'm going to right click right here, just use another tool, right click, create alert, and just notify me when this is breaking out because I'm curious. Breakout of, I just put I in here for short, IH and S, inverse head and shoulders, question mark, and I'll just have that text me, right? David's got it. Ascending triangle. That's what I was looking at. You guys have some other ones in there. Yeah, it is a wedge for sure. Ascending triangle. Yep. It's ascending, which is interesting because it is ascending, and some of the stronger, this stock could go down. I'm not trying to promote anything. I'm just letting you know, this scan helped us to find it. And by the way, people are, it hasn't broken out yet either. So still waiting for that. But some of the stronger consolidations, and when I say consolidations, I'm saying downward moves, counter to the direction of the upward trend, which is up. Notice they go up. Sometimes the strongest ones are actually so strong, they actually just kind of shift slowly to the upside. I don't know. Is it going to break out or not? That's the question mark, but we've got a little note in there in case we do get above there. That's always good just to get an alert, just so we can, be notified if you find something interesting. But look at that. I mean, that went through the S&P 500 in about a second. That one was less than a second, I think. But anyways, hey, a second or two. You guys flexible with that? Yeah. It's quick. It's quick regardless. Okay, well, that's moving averages going above or below moving average. And of course, we could do the death cross 50 going below. Let me just show you how you could do it so quick if you wanted to. Here's the scan. You come back over here, over to the right, and all I'm going to simply do is show you this. I'm going to go ahead and edit over here. Look at this. One click, 50 crosses below. Everything stays the same. The 50 in this case is just going below the 200, a totally different chart pattern completely. That's a reversal, but let's just do it just for the heck of it. A death cross with just a single click here, in terms of, from crosses above to crosses below in the wizard. We're not getting any. Okay, maybe that's a positive thing right now for the markets, but I could tell you, if we were running this over the past couple of weeks, we probably would have seen a fair amount. In fact, if I were to search back, like the last 10 days, we probably would have several down through here, which could be interesting too for those people that were looking to maybe take other positions, All right, let's go ahead and hit this. Okay, so crossovers are really interesting, but we're using in a lot of ways when we look at a moving average. We talked about this with the 200-day, a break above the 200-day. And you can see we broke above the 200-day here with earnings, and we kind of ran up a little bit with the CVS. Okay. But we could also say, what about prices moving over a perceived level of resistance? Say, for example, what about actual horizontal supported resistance over here? Did we use things, Condition Wizard, for that? Well, the fact that I'm bringing it up, you guys could pretty much guess, yes, we can. Yes, we can. Let me show it to you right now. What I'm going to do is delete this, and we're going to say that we're going to use, actually, price again, price breaking above, the closing price crosses above, another study out there. Now, this study looks at just horizontal levels, like if it's breaking above a 20 period time frame, if it's breaking above the highs of the last 20 days, for example. This is going to be referred to as a price channel. A price channel right there. If you haven't used this before, a price channel. Now here's the length right there. Is 20. So what it's doing, just so you know behind the scenes, it's doing something like this. You've got the price of the stock that might be going up, but then, within the last 20 bars, you've made a high over here. Now, as long as we're within this time frame right here, if this is within anything within 20 bars right there, I'll just say 20 bars. Okay, 20 days, 20 bars. Same thing here. We could be using weekly bars, but we're looking at daily bars right now. So 20 daily bars. If I start to break above this level right there, okay, I'll just put a little, yeah. If we just start to creep above there, notify me. In other words, that's what this indicator is doing when we're crossing above it. When we cross above, that's the 20. Now, we could say a longer term resistance. I'm going to throw some of these out here just so you guys can see it, but let's look at the 20 first, the 20 as well, within 20. All right. And we're going to say within the last bar. But one really super key point you have to note, because the default is not the higher band. The default is the lower band. That means it's crossing above the lower channel. It doesn't make a lot of sense for what we're after. You got to click upper. I was always thinking the upper would be the default, but it's not. I'm going to click on save and I'm going to click on OK. And then the nice thing about this is that OK button will always line up, and it'll always light up, I should say, where you can click OK. A lot of times, when I'm doing codes, it doesn't light up because I've made an error in the code. The nice thing about the Condition Wizard is it's created in such a way that Thinkorswim, just the coding behind the scenes it lines up with it, so you're just not going to run into those issues very often. I don't think I have. It's always said okay, so it's just going to give us what we're after here. Now, before I actually run this, because I do have it set up, let me just show you what this is, and let's just knock out a couple of these right now. Well, not knock them out, but we're getting a little busy over here. Well, yeah, let's take a couple of these out on the chart. Okay, so the price channel, if you haven't seen it, is something a lot like this. And that's the price channel that we just looked at. Notice there's a 20, and there's going to be an upper and a lower within here. See the upper band? It's right there. Let's just make it nice, a color we can actually see pretty clearly. I'm going to take out the lower band, but we'll look at lower breaks as well. I'm going to take out that show channel or show plot there. But then, so on the upper band, the show plot is still there. This is what it looks like. Boom, boom. Do you see it? You guys see what I'm talking about? It sits there and it draws. Notice over here, the last 20 bars. What was the high of the last 20 bars? It stuck to it right there. And now all we're simply doing is just saying, yeah, over the same time frame, it's still giving us this line. Thinkorswim is smart enough through the coding to say, okay, what is that price channel telling us? We're actually kind of using an indicator here, just like we did at the moving averages, and saying, well, if I'm looking for a breakout, you notice this, you guys, this is a horizontal potential breakout. We did not get above it yet. We did not get above those highs, but we can find out very, very quickly with our scan that we just created so easily too. There's the scan. It's all set up on the S&P 500. How many have broken above their 200 today? Click on that scan. 5. 5 have gone above there. That CCI, we're getting hits all over the place on CCI, Crown Castle. But I'm going to go down here and take a look at all and DUK, Duke Energy. So here's all. Let's just confirm it. Did it get above that today? Bingo, it sure did. Do you want to know where the 20-day was? It was right there. Because is that within the last 20 days? It is. It's within the last 20 days. And is that a breakout? It is a breakout over this range. Now, there's a higher level over here, but it is still a breakout. Duke was the other one. Okay, are we getting above this one? We actually are. This was within 20 bars, and we're getting it. But what about within the last, I'm going to do this just to show you how we can go use the chart and go back and forth between these two. What is this? This is in the last, okay, that is 98 bars. I'm going to say 100 bars. And watch this. We should get Duke coming up. What would that be showing us? Oh, well, actually, you know what? It wouldn't come up because we didn't break above it. Sorry. It wouldn't show us that because we did not break above it. But if I said 100, let me just show you that one. Or we can do 50. Watch this. We'll go over here. We're going to change this. Again, we're still in the scan. We're in the stock hacker. And I'm over here off to the right. We are still in this section. And I'm going to click over here and I'm going to go into our length is not going to be 20, but it's going to be 50, more than double. A longer term break above maybe longer term resistance is what this is telling us. By the way, that's happening today. CCI's got, above the 50. Okay. Got it. Within that time frame. Okay, so it's within a longer term time frame. So we're still getting those hits. Perfect. Now, I'm going to use another indicator here that I think many of you guys do use. Bollinger Bands, for example. Let's take this off and let's go right into Bollinger Bands now. What about prices breaking above a Bollinger Band? Add a condition. Let's do it right now. Price. Closing price crossing above Bollinger Band. In other words, it might be moving into a statistical range based upon what Bollinger Bands are looking at. Moving above, maybe potentially into a standard deviation level or whatever the case might be. You can look at midlines. Is it above the midline? Is it above the upper line? Whatever the case might be. I'm going to go upper line, but I'm going to say, not just today, but let's give it in the last 5 days here. I'm going to save that and we're going to run it right now. Here we go. Boom. The last 5 days, we got a few of these. Man, CCI is everywhere. Let's go back. I'm going to go in the last 2 days. I'll just adjust that off my screen real quick and see what we got. I'm going to make it really, really tight in terms of a breakout there and see what we've got. And let's run that for results. CCI is just hitting everything. PCG. And for those people that trade an upper Bollinger Band, look what you're also getting. You're getting a price breakout. That is not the Bollinger Band. This is the Bollinger Band right here. Let's pull it up. And I'm going to take out our price channel, just sub them out, and there you go. Okay, so this is hitting the upper Bollinger Band. PCG, is that right? I got to make sure my numbers are correct here. Bollinger Band closing using the simple, maybe that's using the exponential. I've got some of these off. Perhaps they're not might be matching exactly what's in ThinkScript, but folks, you can see prices breaking above a particular. Oh, I'm using the 200. Well, that'll do it. It's supposed to be 20. I got you. That's why they're so widened out. I gotta take off 1 0. There we go. It'll make all the difference in the world, though. There you go. Much better. Do you see us hitting that upper channel? Now, a lot of traders that use this are just looking for potential for a breakout. Okay. Found it just like that. There were 4 others that fell right into that category. Yeah, what is up with CCI? I'm curious about that. It's hitting everywhere. I don't know. Yeah, we're just, it's on all these. And we'll see, but there's just a few. I mean, a lot of times you'll see that on a breakout, folks. If you found this session helpful, do me a favor. I really appreciate it. Just smash that like button. If there's something you find helpful with it. As well, bottom right-hand corner of the screen, just smash that subscribe button. Would love to have you guys on board here as well. Now, it is awesome being with you, folks. We're almost there to the weekend. Hopefully you've found this helpful. I think, if you haven't seen this before, this should really widen your, your capabilities in terms of utilizing the Thinkorswim platform for finding exactly what you're after within the market. What's out there, meeting the different categories. And then, by the way, also we can add these, right? We can have a moving average. These can be combined with other price moves as well. So a lot of versatility with that condition wizard, folks. Again, smash that like button if you found it helpful, and have a terrific weekend. Thanks so much, JB, in the chat as well. Been very helpful as always. Take care, all. Have a great weekend.